make a narrative as if like I'm scared of. I think Devin's a tremendous fighter. Do I think Devin Haney can beat me? Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm on a different level than everybody.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to boxing, because Devin, he's a boxer.
It's on him. You know what I mean? It's on him. He knows that he's going to get this fade sooner or later. So it's only a matter of time. Obviously, we can't go down. You know, we can't go down to 135. So, you know, he would have to come up. And, you know, he can get this work anytime he ready.
I see greatness, man. I see greatness. Shakur practically beat you with one hand, man. That jab, man. Most important hand you have, man. You know? And he looked good doing it, sharp. You know what I mean? Distance. He did everything, man.
Shakur Stevenson just agreed to fight Devin Haney at 140 pounds with full rehydration clauses, and what he said next is going to blow your mind. This isn't just another boxing match getting made. This is about to be the fight that determines who runs the next generation of boxing, and the confidence level from both camps is absolutely insane. Stevenson didn't just accept the terms, he basically laughed at them, telling everyone that no fighter alive can touch his skill level. Meanwhile, Haney's team is pushing harder than ever to make this happen, but there's drama brewing behind the scenes that nobody's talking about.
All of these guys, if y'all want me to come to 147, I'm coming in with rehydration quality.
Devin Haney isn't just saying he wants this fight, he's practically begging for it, and that should tell you everything about what's really going on here. Look, when a fighter who is undisputed champion at 135 is this desperate to prove himself against someone like Shakur, you know there's more to the story. Haney's been getting criticized for his performance against Ryan Garcia, even though he won on the scorecards, and now he needs a statement victory to shut everyone up. His team knows that beating Shakur Stevenson would instantly put him back in the conversation as the best young fighter in boxing. But here's where it gets interesting. Haney's father Bill is making demands about weight, saying they won't come down from 140, which means Shakur has to move up and give up his size advantage.
Or still at 135. You can't, you know, say your name without saying Shakur to your female tank, right? It just is what it is. Is that fight going to ever happen? Would it ever happen against you and Shakur?
100%, yeah. I think so. I think it.
You think Shakur will grow into whatever weight you're in?
I mean, we're all of us is close to the same size. You know, we're all growing together. We're all like, you know, getting bigger. Well, so, and it's only so many guys, like y'all said. It's only so many guys that we could make big money and people want to see the fights. Which even though I know that they making new guys, it's guys like Kermel, Abdullah, all these guys want to come up too. So eventually they gonna be there too. But yeah, no, I think that a fight with Shakur is very much possible. We tried to make it happen a while.
Now here's where the mind games start getting wild. Shakur's camp is already predicting that Devin's team will try to make excuses and claim that Stevenson is ducking the fight if negotiations get complicated. Think about that for a second. They're calling out the excuse-making before it even happens, which means they've probably seen this playbook before. Shakur's confidence is off the charts right now, telling anyone who will listen that he's on a completely different level than every other fighter in boxing. He's specifically saying Devin can't knock him out, can't outbox him, and basically can't do anything to hurt him. That's either supreme confidence or he knows something about Devin's limitations that we don't.
Okay.
Devin Haney's probably, to me, I don't think it's hit its point yet, but I think in the next year or two, it'll hit a point where it's like the world is gonna demand, you know what I'm saying? I can see the trajectory feels like it could meet like that.
I would love this fight. But look, you gotta watch what you say with like, and this is not even Devin's fault, because Devin is very respectful of my game and I'm respectful of his game. He's a good fighter. But his fans will clip and twist and turn things into something that is not. So I try to be real careful on what I say.
True. This is guy Jay on Twitter. He a big Haney fan. He be always clipping and changing stuff, Jay.
Yeah, they gonna make a narrative as if like I'm scared of. I think Devin's a tremendous fighter. Do I think Devin Haney can beat me? Hell no.
But get this, Tim Bradley just made a statement that's going to shock you. He thinks Shakur Stevenson has the potential to surpass Terrence Crawford in boxing history. Crawford, the pound-for-pound king, 5-weight division champion, undisputed champion, the guy who's basically on boxing's Mount Rushmore already. Bradley isn't saying Shakur will match Crawford's titles or move through as many weight classes, but he's talking about something bigger. He believes Shakur is entering boxing at the perfect time, when politics aren't blocking the big fights like they did during Crawford's rise. Crawford should have fought Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, and Sean Porter years earlier, but promotional politics kept those fights from happening when they would have meant the most.
Don't try to outbox me. I'm the greatest boxer. How do you... So that's how I feel about the fight.
Yeah.
But it all got to make sense from a business standpoint. I don't like getting up here and negotiating against myself.
Sure.
And
for sure.
But for me, I'm willing to make the fight.
But do you see it as it being that could, you know, like we always said, the Four Kings, even though you wasn't a part of it, the whole thing, the whole plot is like at the end of the road, there's gonna be 2 guys left standing, and that's the big fight. Do you see that as that's potentially what that could be?
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker, though. Shakur is coming up in an era where fighters from 130 to 135 pounds are way more accessible than they've ever been. We're talking about potential fights with Devin Haney, Lamont Roach, Oshakwi Foster, Gary Russell Jr., Dalton Smith, Ryan Garcia, and others who are all in their primes right now. Bradley thinks Shakur doesn't just have the skills to beat these guys, he has the opportunity to face them all while they're still elite competition. That's something Crawford never had because of promotional barriers and network politics that kept the best fights from getting made.
Yeah, you know, if I can't get those fights next or it doesn't make sense for it to be next, I'll probably go to 140, test it out, see how I feel at the weight at 140, and then when the time is right, then, you know, I'll defend my belt at 135. We'll just see, though. I got to go back and talk with the team and see what makes the most sense. That's really...
Now listen to this part, because it gets absolutely wild. People are comparing this generation to the Four Kings era with Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Roberto Duran. Initially, everyone was calling Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, and Gervonta Davis the Four Kings too. But here's what's crazy. Just like Wilfred Benitez was overlooked in the original Four Kings era despite beating Roberto Duran, Shakur Stevenson was being overlooked in this generation. Benitez beat Duran, but Duran struggled against most of the Four Kings anyway. He only beat Sugar Ray Leonard once, got brutally knocked out by Hearns, was outclassed by Hagler, and lost to Benitez. Yet Benitez gets forgotten in history.
He didn't become undisputed, yet they didn't mention the franchise belt, which directly impacted Devin's career early on, right? And it seemed like, I was saying this on my live earlier, you tell me what you think about this, but it seems to me like there's a lot of people that have tried to block y'all ambition, right? Between you signed to the wrong company, you know, Loma not taking the Devin fight, Tio not taking the Devin fight, Rolly saying he just don't want to fight Devin. Do you see that? Like, how do you see that? You know, as far as like, people know you're ambitious, they know you want to be unified, they know you want to be undisputed. So they put all these obstacles up and they make it hard for you to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. I think it's been historic in the way that they've done.
Hold up, did you catch what just happened with this comparison? Shakur was being overshadowed by Haney, Garcia, Davis, and Lopez, the same way Benitez was forgotten. But everything changed when Shakur absolutely dominated Teofimo Lopez in their fight. That performance announced to the world that he belongs in the conversation, and maybe he's actually the best of this entire generation. Meanwhile, Tank Davis is dealing with legal issues and seems hesitant to take the biggest fights. Ryan Garcia is coming off a controversial win over Haney, and Lopez just got schooled by Shakur. The landscape is shifting, and Shakur is positioning himself as the guy who could beat them all.
We must keep our composure and our patience and understand that it's part of the process when you're that good. You know what I mean? We can't say it any other way. You know, they're running out of narratives. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's what the people want to see. We don't never say, okay, you know, well, this guy has done something wrong or he did bad business. So, you know, we'll never do it. Obviously, you know, when we go through negotiations and we spend time in there, whether it's put something together for Richard Hitchinson, for him to come back later and to say, you know, yeah, I want that fight. Well, when we were trying to make the fight, we couldn't. You didn't want to negotiate. You went somewhere else. When we were negotiating with Shakur Stevenson, instead of him negotiating with us, he said that he's going to go somewhere.
Bernie from Thought Boxer broke down exactly what's at stake here, and the numbers are staggering. Shakur is already a 4-weight world champion, 2-time linear champion, 2-time Ring Magazine title holder, and 2-time unified champion at 130 pounds. He beat Teofimo Lopez, who always rises to the occasion against elite competition, and made it look easy. Devin Haney is a 3-weight world champion who was undisputed at 135 before the Ryan Garcia fight. Bernie's point is crucial. If Shakur wants to cement his legacy, he needs to fight Devin at his prime, not when he's older or coming off losses. No excuses, no what-ifs, just pure elite competition at the highest level.
I feel like Shakur, just like Crawford was with me, Shakur has the ability to pass Terrence Crawford. Listen up. Now, not in the sense of becoming 3-time undisputed and, you know, going up, you know, that many weight classes. Not from that standpoint. You know, he already has 4 weight classes. Crawford is a 5-weight division champion. But in the sense of having the opportunities that Crawford didn't have. You know, Crawford would have been even bigger than what he is if the politics didn't play into the sport at the time. And now that, you know, you have guys like Turki Al-Sheikh that are able to bridge that gap between promoters and, you know, make these big fights happen.
But wait, it gets even more impressive when you see how Shakur dominated Lopez. Bozy and he's pointed out that Shakur fought practically with one hand and still made Lopez look amateurish. His jab was razor sharp, his distance control was perfect, and every single move was calculated and effective. Critics had been questioning Shakur's resume for years, saying he hadn't faced real competition. Against Lopez, he proved every single doubter wrong with a technical masterclass that left no room for debate. Lopez has experience, athleticism, and power, but none of it mattered because he was facing Shakur Stevenson.
Turki was around when Crawford was on his climb. You know, when Crawford couldn't get those big fights with like Thurman and Danny Garcia and Ugas and, you know, he got it later with Sean Porter, but it was later. But imagine if Crawford was able to have that run and, you know, Earl Spence, Danny Garcia, Ugas, Keith Thurman, you know, the list goes on. If he would have had all those guys on his ledger, imagine how big Crawford would be. He would be even bigger than what he is today. You know, bigger than what he is today. So with that being said, you know, with these fighters hovering around 135, these talented fighters, hovering around 135, 130, you know, guys like, you know, O'Shaquie Foster, like I mentioned, going to go up to 135. He's big enough to go to 130.
And get this, even with his left hand injured during the Lopez fight, Shakur maintained complete dominance for 12 rounds. He threw that jab relentlessly and only used his left hand when absolutely necessary because of the injury. Bozy emphasized that Shakur could have stopped Lopez if he really wanted to, but he managed the fight intelligently despite being hurt. The fans in Philly witnessed something special, a masterclass in boxing IQ where Shakur proved that greatness isn't about perfect conditions. It's about skill, heart, and unwavering focus, even when you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back.
Haney going to concede to that? I doubt it. So there's a major obstacle in the way. But nonetheless, as you watch these two fighters fight, you can clearly see, outside of cheating, they're more than likely not going to lose, right? With that said, Devin Haney immediately responds to Shakur. Shakur responds to Devin, right? Again, we had the initial 4 kings. It was Devin, Ryan, Tio, and Tank Davis, right? It was supposed to be the 4 kings 2.0. from the Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearn, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto.
So here's where we stand right now. Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney are on a collision course for what could be the defining fight of this generation. Both fighters bring exceptional speed, skill, and determination that makes every second in the ring unpredictable. Fans are analyzing their styles, debating who wins, and the energy around this fight is absolutely electric. Shakur's technical mastery against Devin's athleticism and power creates a clash that has the potential to be one of the most memorable fights in recent boxing history. This isn't just about two undefeated fighters anymore. This is about who controls the future of boxing at 140 pounds and beyond.
We had that four-king era, but nobody mentions Wilfred Benitez. And the fact remains is Wilfred Benitez beat Roberto Duran as well. And Roberto Duran is 1-4 against those guys. He beat Sugar Ray Leonard the first time. Outside of that, Roberto Duran, he lost. He quit against Sugar Ray Leonard. He got knocked out brutally by Tommy Hearns. He got outboxed by Marvin Hagler and outclassed by Wilfred Benitez. Right? But he's overshadowing Wilfred Benitez. And I felt like these guys, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank, and Tio, overshadowed Shakur Stevenson. And now Shakur Stevenson has shined the light by dominating Teofimo Lopez.
So there you have it. Shakur Stevenson is moving up to 140 to face Devin Haney in what could be the fight that determines the best young fighter in boxing today. This isn't just about titles or rankings anymore. This is about legacy, respect, and who gets to call themselves the face of the next generation. And honestly, based on what we've seen from Shakur's performance against Lopez and his supreme confidence level, I think we might be watching the emergence of boxing's next superstar. So here's my question for you. Drop it in the comments. Do you think Shakur's technical skills are enough to handle Devin's size and power at 140? Or is this the fight where someone finally exposes Stevenson? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really at stake in this fight, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because this fight is going to be absolutely insane when it gets made official. I'll see you in the next one.
Fight, Conor Ben comes into the ring, they talk, have some words, but Shakur Stevenson said, I want to put that same rehydration clause you put on Chris Eubank. Tell me, what did you get out of that moment in the ring?
Well, I heard on the press conference where I think it was his manager said that, that was a clown move, but I think Shakur invited that, I don't even know if I would have said all that about Conor being right then, but I think he really wants that fight. He really wants the money for the fight. He been saying that, and now he came through victorious. I think he really wants that money for that fight. He wants the money for the fight.
But hold on, we're not done yet, because there's something brewing in the background that changes everything about this fight. The politics behind making Shakur versus Devin are way more complicated than anyone realizes. And what I'm about to tell you is going to make you see this whole situation differently. Top Rank has Shakur under contract, while Devin is with Matchroom Boxing, and these promotional companies have a history of making fights difficult to negotiate. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Both fighters are so confident in their abilities that they're willing to bypass some of the usual promotional roadblocks just to prove who's better.
See fights, accomplishments, because now Shakur is a 4-weight world champion. Devin is a 3-weight world champion. Devin was undisputed, but now Shakur is a 2-time lineal champion. So he's a 2-time Ring Magazine winner. 2-time unified champion. If you want to add the ring, as far as with the WBO, he was unified at 130. So he's a 2-time unified champion, 2-time lineal champion. Beat a guy like Teofimo Lopez, who rises to the occasion. Had a close fight with George Kambosos. You can make a claim that he was fighting out of frustration or out of emotion, and that was it. He was in his prime too, Josh Taylor seemed to be drained at 140. Not taking away from Devin, but he was already moving up to 47, they were saying. Lomachenko was a little older.
Eddie Hearn from Matchroom just made a statement that's got everyone talking. He said Devin Haney is willing to take less money up front if it means getting Shakur in the ring sooner rather than later. Think about that for a second. A fighter who was making 8 figures as undisputed champion is now willing to sacrifice guaranteed money just to prove a point. That tells you everything about how badly Devin wants to silence his critics and show that the Ryan Garcia performance was just an off night. Here knows that if Devin can dominate Shakur the way everyone expects him to, the financial rewards on the back end will be massive.
I see greatness, man. I see greatness. Shakur practically beat him with one hand, man. That jab, man. Most important hand you have, man. You know? And he looked good doing it, sharp. You know what I mean? Distance. He did everything, man. He did everything right, man.
A lot of people thought it would be a tough fight because Teo's athletic, Teo's experienced, he's fought on a high level. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they were critical of Shakur. Oh, right. He ain't fought nobody and this and that. Yeah. He made Teo look like everybody else. Made him look like an amateur. Made him look like an amateur. Yes. Now, technically, what did you see? Right? Where did Teo go wrong in that fight?
Where he went wrong?
Yeah.
Fighting Shakur. That's where he went wrong. Fighting Shakur. I knew he just running his mouth. He just was talking, man. I knew that from the beginning, even the time when he talked.
Meanwhile, Bob Arum from Top Rank is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Sources close to the promotion are saying Arum believes this fight is exactly what Shakur needs to become a mainstream star. Boxing needs new faces, young fighters who can capture casual fans' attention, and Arum thinks Shakur beating Devin would create the kind of breakout moment that turns a skilled boxer into a household name. The old-school promoter has seen this pattern before with fighters like Oscar de la Hoya and Floyd Mayweather, where one signature victory changes everything about their career trajectory.
Yeah, Shakur knows you could have got stopped too, but Shakur hurt his left hand.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild, and this is information that most boxing fans don't know yet. Shakur's training team has been studying Devin's fight footage obsessively, and they've identified what they believe are three major weaknesses in Haney's style. First, Devin struggles with fighters who can match his speed and outbox him at range. Second, his punch resistance has never been truly tested by someone with Shakur's precision and timing. Third, and this is the big one, Devin tends to get frustrated when his physical advantages don't translate into ring control, and that frustration leads to tactical mistakes.
If you notice, he was using that jab a lot.
Yeah, jab and then the hook.
And he threw the left hand every now and then. Because I was screaming out. Everybody said they heard me in Philly.
Yo, we can hear you on the TV. Yo.
Yeah, that's my young buck. You know what I mean? And I was telling him, throw that straight left hand. Then I noticed when he did throw it, he wasn't throwing it real hard. You know what I mean?
Now get this, because what Devin's camp discovered about Shakur is equally fascinating. Bill Shakur has been breaking down tape with his son, and they think they've found the blueprint to beat Stevenson. Their analysis shows that Shakur can be drawn into firefights when opponents pressure him consistently and take away his distance control. They believe Devin's size, reach, and conditioning advantages become decisive factors if he can force Shakur to engage in close-quarters combat for extended periods. The Haney team thinks most of Shakur's opponents have been too respectful of his skills, instead of imposing their physical will on him.
Tackler, man, you know, he can't ask for nothing more, man. And with me, I don't care about what people say, man. They always want to talk about you and say, oh, he should have did this, should have did that. He did everything that he was supposed to do, and he did.
Here's something that's going to blow your mind about the weight situation. The rehydration clauses being discussed aren't just about making weight, they're about completely changing how both fighters prepare for this bout. Devin typically walks around at about 155 pounds between fights, while Shakur is naturally closer to 145. But here's the kicker, both fighters are willing to compromise on their ideal fighting weights because they believe their skills are superior regardless of physical condition. That level of confidence from both camps is unprecedented in modern boxing.
That even remotely sparks my interest for Shakur Stevenson is this guy right here, Devin Haney. Look at them, they're the same size. Obviously, Devin's moved up to 147. Shakur demands a catch weight. We'll see if Devin goes for the bait, because I think Shakur Stevenson, there's no doubt about it, he has the skills to compete at 147, to be 5 weight division champion. I feel like that would be crazy.
Andre Ward just weighed in on this fight, and his breakdown is absolutely brilliant. Ward thinks this matchup represents everything that's right about boxing today. Two young, undefeated fighters in their primes who are willing to take risks to prove they're the best. He compared it to his own decision to move up and fight at light heavyweight against Sergey Kovalev, saying that great fighters don't wait for perfect circumstances. Ward believes Shakur moving up to 140 shows the kind of championship mentality that separates good fighters from all-time greats. But Ward also made a point that's got everyone in boxing circles talking. He said Devin Haney is at a crossroads in his career where this fight determines whether he becomes a superstar or just another really good fighter who never quite reached his potential. The Garcia fight raised questions about Devin's punch resistance and his ability to handle adversity, even though he won the decision. Ward thinks beating Shakur would answer every critic and establish Devin as the clear leader of this generation, but losing would raise serious questions about his championship pedigree. Now here's where the mental warfare gets absolutely insane. Shakur has been posting training videos on social media that look like something out of a movie. His hand speed, footwork, and combination punching are so crisp that other professional fighters are commenting in disbelief. But this isn't just about showing off. It's psychological warfare designed to get inside Devin's head before they even sign contracts. Shakur wants Devin to see exactly what he's going to be dealing with and start second-guessing his game plan. Devin's response has been equally calculated and impressive. Instead of posting flashy training footage, he's been working with new sparring partners who mimic Shakur's style and movement patterns. Word from his camp is that Devin has been sparring 12 hard rounds daily, focusing specifically on cutting off the ring and neutralizing slick boxers. His conditioning coach says Devin is in the best shape of his career, and his father Bill has been drilling specific combinations designed to counter Shakur's defensive tendencies. Listen to this, because the betting odds for this fight are telling a story that nobody expected. Early lines had Devin as a slight favorite because of his size and power advantages, but the money has been coming in heavily on Shakur. Professional bettors who make their living analyzing fights are backing Stevenson at almost a 2-to-1 ratio. These aren't casual fans making emotional bets. These are sharp bettors who have done deep statistical analysis and concluded that Shakur's skills are being undervalued by the general public. The international boxing community is going absolutely crazy over this potential matchup. European fans who stayed up late to watch Shakur dismantle Lopez are calling him the most technically sound American fighter since Floyd Mayweather. Social media is exploding with fight breakdowns, prediction videos, and heated debates about who wins. The engagement numbers are off the charts, with boxing content creators seeing their biggest view counts in years just by discussing this fight. Here's something that's flying under the radar, but could be huge for both fighters' legacies. The winner of Shakur versus Devin automatically becomes the leading candidate to face whoever emerges victorious from the Terence Crawford and Errol Spence aftermath. Crawford has hinted at moving up to 154 permanently, which would leave 147 wide open for the next generation. If either Shakur or Devin can establish themselves as the clear best young fighter, they're looking at potential megafights against established superstars like Crawford, Spence, or even moving up to challenge bigger names. But wait, there's a wild card in all of this that nobody's talking about. Gervonta Davis has been suspiciously quiet about both Shakur and Devin lately, and sources close to Tank's camp suggest he's been watching this situation develop with serious interest. If Shakur and Devin beat each other up in a war, Tank could swoop in and fight the winner when they're still recovering. It's the kind of strategic patience that smart fighters use to maximize their advantages, and Tank has always been calculated about when he takes his biggest risks. The training footage that's been leaking from both camps tells an incredible story about how seriously each fighter is taking this opportunity. Shakur's been working with Olympic-level amateur boxers who can replicate Devin's style, while Devin has been sparring with southpaws who move and counterpunch like Shakur. Both fighters are essentially preparing for war, understanding that this fight could define their entire careers. The level of preparation and dedication from both sides suggests we're going to see both fighters at their absolute peak performance levels. Now here's what's really got me excited about the potential for this fight to deliver fireworks. Neither fighter has ever been in a bout where their opponent could match their speed, IQ, and technical skills simultaneously. Shakur has faced powerful punchers and crafty veterans, but never someone with Devin's combination of size, speed, and boxing intelligence. Devin has fought strong, durable opponents, but never someone who could potentially outbox him over 12 rounds while being elusive enough to avoid his best shots. The sparring reports coming out of both camps are absolutely wild, and what I'm hearing is that both fighters are having their toughest preparation sessions in years. Shakur's been dropping sparring partners with body shots, showing a level of punching power that surprises people who think he's just a slick technical boxer. Devin's been overwhelming his sparring partners with pace and pressure, proving that his conditioning and work rate might be even better than people realized. These aren't just skilled fighters anymore. They're becoming complete fighters who can win in multiple ways. So here's what we're really looking at with Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney. This isn't just another young fighter showdown or a typical undefeated versus undefeated matchup. This is potentially the fight that determines the face of boxing for the next decade. The fighter who gets the biggest paydays, the most media attention, and the opportunity to become a crossover star. Both fighters understand the stakes, both teams are preparing like their lives depend on it, and both fighters are confident enough to take this risk when they could easily fight safer opponents for good money. That combination of skill, stakes, and confidence is exactly what creates legendary fights that people talk about for decades.